Hi everyone, Ashley here today, also known as the AJ Fangirl. I'm here because a couple days ago I was asked under one of my YouTube comments, who are your favorite actors? And other questions too that was under there. Someone asked me who are my favorite two actors, and it's a long list because I have so many. Um, I like I love Robert Downey Jr. I love RDJ. I love Johnny Depp. Um, I love Tom Hiddleston, Chris Hemsworth, even Chris Evans. I like Chris Evans too. He's a good actor. I mean, in certain movies, it depends on the script because sometimes they give your favorite actors lousy scripts. Benedict Cumberbatch. Just so many. Jared Leto. Like, there's a lot of good actors that I love. Tom Holland. But if I had to say two out of all my favorite actors, I would have to say James McAvoy and Michael Fassbender. It's something about those two that I don't know, just it makes them really compelling actors to me. Like, I love them a lot. They're one of my favorite actors. I fell in love with them after I watched X-Men First Class. I wanted to know more about their movies and everything about them. So I did. Um, I love James McAvoy and Michael Fassbender a lot, so they're my favorite two actors in the whole wide world. And the question after that was, who do you like more out of both of them? Well, that's a hard question because I both love their movie. I'm not gonna say I love all the movies because, like I said, you have to have a good script to have it be a good movie. Um, but if I had to choose, I have to choose Michael Fassbender for a lot of reasons because Michael Fassbender, for some reason, he has better movies than James McAvoy. I don't know why, but it's just like some movies that James McAvoy playing, they're not the best movies. There's only some movies that I like, but like all his movies aren't as great as Michael Fassbender's. I'm not saying Michael Fassbender movies are great either. I mean, he has some bad movies too. But if I had to say the actor who takes it over the notch, and they do different compelling acting, I have to say Michael Fassbender. I like his acting more. No, I don't like his acting more. I like his movies more than I like James McAvoy. I love James McAvoy. Don't say it. I am not saying this because I dislike him, but this is just people ask me under my comments, my Q&A. Someone asks me who I like better, I'm gonna have to go with Michael Fassbender because he plays in a lot of movies when he has like a different type of role. Like he could play the sadistic character, the good guy character, the evil character, the character. Like he could play a different type of role, and so can James McAvoy. He played a DID character in Split. He played a spy character in Atomic Blonde. Like he could play so many different characters too. I mean, he played a man in a wheelchair in X-Men movies. Like he could do other stuff too, but Michael Fassbender, he takes it to a different level that James McAvoy hasn't reached yet in his acting, in my opinion. The next question in the Q&A was, what are your top 5 favorite movies from Michael and James? So I'm gonna do James McAvoy first because I love a lot of his movies. So if I had to say number 5 would have to be It Chapter 2. That's one of my favorite movies he has. So 5 would be It Chapter 2. Number 4 would be Penelope. I love that movie a lot. It's really good. Any of the X-Men films, Split, Split and Glass. I'm just gonna put them both in at number 2. Split and Glass are both good movies. I don't care what any of you guys say. And number 1 would have to be Atonement. I think in Atonement he did such a good job in that movie, and I don't know, he just did such an amazing job, and I don't think he could just go back after that. Like he played such a good romantic guy role in there that was very convincing to me, and I love romantic movies, so the movie was just great. Him and Keira Knightley have such big chemistry. I feel like they have more chemistry on screen than her and Michael Fassbender just didn't have when I watched Dangerous Method. But yeah, I think that her and James definitely have way bigger chemistry. So those are my top 5 favorite James McAvoy movies. Now for Michael Fassbender, he has so many good movies that I love. But let's get this list. I think number 5. Oh my god, So many good movies. Number 5 would have to be Light Between Oceans. It was either Light Between Oceans or Jason's Method. Since I like Light Between Oceans better, yeah. Light Between Oceans is such an emotional movie about love and loss, and like it's just so good. Like the movie is just really, really good, and like you have to watch it to understand it. It's about these two people. Um, he actually plays a movie with his real wife, Alicia Vikander. She's so beautiful and such an amazing actress. Um, the movie is about them falling in love and they get married and they want to have a family, but for some reason every time she gets pregnant she ends up miscarrying, and it becomes very depressing for them because they keep trying to have a family and nothing is working. She just keeps end up miscarrying. In the movie it was a part when she was sitting up by the tombstones with all the kids that she miscarried, and it was just such a sad part in the movie because you have to feel for this woman that she's been miscarrying since her first child, and after that it just kept happening, nothing was working, so you feel nothing but bad for them because that's just so upset, and for the doctor to tell you that you cannot have children anymore because of too much of the miscarrying. And then all of a sudden a baby washed up on the shore and everything was just good for them at that point until everything went downhill. So I have to say number 5 was definitely Light Between Oceans. That movie was really good. And I think him and his wife definitely proved they have the chemistry that him and Keira Knightley just didn't have on screen fully. So yeah, I definitely think that the chemistry they had in there was just amazing in that movie. No wonder why they're married. Number 4, A 12 Years a Slave. This movie is very difficult to watch, especially if you're not used to slavery. I don't really like watching movies like that because it's just too, it makes me feel kind of uncomfortable because I don't want to see them getting beat with whips and all that stuff. I just don't like movies like that. Like, I can't watch movies like that or child abuse movies. Like, I just can't sit through that because that's just pain and misery, and I just can't sit through movies like that. It makes me feel comfortable. It makes me sad, so I don't want to sit through stuff like that. But for some reason, this movie just felt kind of weird. Not weird, it felt different. It's like I was able to sit down and actually enjoy it from the start to the finish. When the whipping scenes would come up, I would just turn everything off so I wouldn't have to hear it or see it. And the movie was still good. He plays such a good sadistic character in here. Like I was saying, he could play a different type level of characters. He played a sadistic slave owner who was raping a slave, but at the same time he was in love with her, and it was just weird because at the same time he was playing a man who was sadistic, but yet he had a heart. And he, I don't know, it's just this movie was so great, and I don't think it would have been as good if he wasn't in it. So I just really think that makes one of his top 4 movies, and I just think that movie was just amazing. Any X-Men movie, like I said, with James McAvoy, any X-Men movie he pulls off. Number 2, Steve Jobs, and definitely my favorite movie of all time he's ever played in is Macbeth. Macbeth is my favorite movie that he's ever played in. I love the poetry, I love the directing, everything about the kings and queens and everything. I'm not the biggest person when it comes to royalty or like history movies, really. Like, those aren't really my speed. I can't sit down movies like that because it's either it drags on too long without getting to the point, or it just gets really boring from the first act. But for this movie, it was different. It was like I was able to sit through it from the start to the finish, and I was able to actually enjoy the poetry because I love William Shakespeare, and I like the poetry in the movie. And I think him and the girl, I think her name is Miranda in real life. Sorry if I said her name wrong. I think they had chemistry too, but not as big as him and Alicia Vikander had, his wife, of course. But the chemistry was definitely big with them in the movie. Just not as big as him and Alicia Vikander, like I said. So I think that's his best movie of all time. And these movie rankings are definitely just based on my opinion. So I'm not trying to offend anybody when I say that it's his best movie. You might have a different ranking for him, but yeah. Other stuff today was on my Q&A for my comments was, how do you see James and Michael Fassbender's career after X-Men movies are done? But that's hard because I never assumed that X-Men movies would be done. I always thought they would be those type of movies that would get more just like the MCU. Like, I never considered X movies to be done after 12 movies. I never considered it to be done. I always saw X movies going up to at least 16 or 17 movies because there's so many things you could do with the X-Men. I mean, if you read the comments and the comic books and you read things about it, you realize that there are a lot of things they can do with the X-Men. They could do an X-Men and Avengers crossover movie, but now that won't make any sense now because Tony Stark is no longer here in the MCU. Spoiler if you haven't seen Avengers Endgame, Tony Stark is dead. Long live the GOAT. He will be dearly missed. I love Tony Stark. I love Iron Man. If I have not made that clear before. I just really don't know how to explain it. I really think that X movies could have gone longer. I know X movies have not always been the greatest of movies. Like, they haven't always been the greatest. But I always feel like they could have had gone a little bit more than what they were given. I always felt that way. So I don't know how their careers are going to be. I could always see Michael Fassbender and the thing about Michael Fassbender and James McAvoy is that I could see James McAvoy helping the TV pollution more than I could see Michael Fassbender doing that. Like, I could see James McAvoy in a lot of TV shows. Honestly, I think it would be good to see him in a TV show about Kevin Wintercrump about having the DID. Like, I think that would be interesting to see that with him. That'd be kind of interesting to see him doing more like stalker movies. I think that'd be good, or like a stalker TV show about him stalking teenage girls or something to keep them captive because his childhood trauma. Like, I think that'd be good. Like, I don't know, I just think he could help more of the TV's genres than he could do for... I'm not saying he's a bad actor, because he's not. He's an amazing actor. But I think directors always give him a bad script when he is such an amazing actor and he could do so much more than what he's given. I always felt that way with him, because he doesn't have the best of movies, and I feel like he could always do more than what he's giving. Or I could see him as like the type of Prince Charming type. I could see him do like a lot of more romantic movies, really. Like, I could see him doing a teacher and student relationship movie. I always felt that way with him. I could see him doing more of that. Michael Fassbender, I could see him doing a lot of more movies. I want to see more of his sadistic side in the movie cinema. Like, not as a slave owner, but like a sadistic stalker. Like, I would like to see like that, or like him being like a sadistic ex-boyfriend who used to domestic abuse his ex-girlfriend, and now after all these years of not seeing her, he probably sees her again and wants her back because he's sorry for everything he's did. Like, I always felt that way with Michael Fassbender. Like, he could do more of the sadistic role. When it comes to James and Michael Fassbender, I feel like Michael Fassbender could do more sadistic roles, and James McAvoy could do more of the lovey-dovey roles, because he's more of the good guy type. And Michael Fassbender has definitely proven in the movies that he's more of the anti-type. So it would be better to give him more of the anti-roles and give James more of the good guy roles, like I'm just saying. And his Dark Materials Season 2 trailer just came out, and he wasn't nowhere near the trailer. So I'm kind of worried about that, because when I watched Season 1, I'm not going to lie, when I watched Season 1, his Dark Materials, I only watched it because of James McAvoy. I only watched it because of him and the girl who was on Logan. And I found out that he's her real father, and he pretended to be her uncle because he couldn't take care of her. And the lady that was with her in Season 1 was her real mother. And they decided to give her up and pretend like they didn't want her. So I don't understand, how can you make a Season 2 and not have him in it when you dropped a big bomb in Season 1? That makes no sense. But who knows? We'll see that when it comes out. The next question was, if you could name the best 4 X-Men films, what are they? The best 4 X-Men films, in my opinion, are X2, Logan, Days of Futures Past, and X-Men First Class. Those are the best X-Men movies. If you wanna watch the best X-Men movies, I definitely recommend those 4, because those movies will make you fall in love with X-Men in a heartbeat. This is the last question. The last question is, how do you see the future of the X-Men movies? Like, kind of like what I just said before. It's really hard to say what I see for X-Men movies because they ended the movies, so Disney decided just to give up on the movies because of Dark Phoenix, because the movie was bad. But what I don't understand is if the movie was so bad, why not give up on X Men movies a long time ago? Because X Men movies have had plenty of other bad movies. Last Stand, Wolverine Origins, those movies were also bad. So you just gave up. You just gave up on it because of Dark Phoenix. I don't even think Dark Phoenix was bad. I really think the movie was good. I just don't really think people appreciate X Men movies because it's not what they want. If they would have had the Dark Phoenix storyline from the comic book, the movie would be like at least 3 hours before, and you don't want to sit through a 4 hour movie because this isn't a documentary. But like, I always felt like it'll be awesome to see an X-Men movie from the cartoon. I always wanted a X movie that took place from a Get Ready cartoon episode, like them fighting the Sinister, or we get a movie when we introduce Polaris. Like I always wanted to see Magneto's daughter Polaris. I would love to see who could put the right actors that could portray her right. Like I always wanted to see that. I always want to see that. Or X movie Magneto and his kids teaming up together in like a bad faction and taking down everybody, and they gotta be taken, and they get taken down. Or always wanted to see a Brotherhood, Even Mutants movie. Like we get to see a movie of Magneto creating a group of mutants, and him trying to take down Xavier, Charles Xavier, and everything. And I always want, and the one problem I think I always had in X movies is the Jean and Scott relationship. I don't think they ever really handled it great in the movies. Like Jean and Scott was always that power couple to me, even though they did get divorced in the comic books. But they were always that power couple to me. They always had something to them that I always found really realistic. I knew the comic books they got married and had babies, and I kind of hate the fact that the movies never really captured much on that with them. So it would be nice to see like a movie with them getting married and everything, and them having children, and them having to defeat the world, and like their kids not understanding why, and their kids being mutants. It would be awesome if the roles would switch. Like the daughter had Scott's powers and the son had Jean's powers. That'd be pretty awesome. But it would be great if I had to say the future of the X-Men movies. I would have to say I don't know. Never say never with them. But if I had to do it, if I had to do another X-Men movie, I would definitely do some Brotherhood of Evil Mutants movie with Magneto creating a group of mutants and Charles trying to take them down. I would definitely do something like that because we never got that in any of the movies before. So why not give us that? This has been Ashley with Ashley's Q&A from the comments. I might have more coming up. That's hopefully from more comments. People might DM me on my Instagram and ask me more about DC or anything. So I might come up with a DC Q&A. This has been Ashley, and signing off.